Welcome to our second lesson of the various different Zazzle videos here. And we're going to, like I said, talk a little bit more about Zazzle, and hopefully in the future we talk about more platforms. But let's continue kind of from where we left off last time. Now, last time we kind of didn't really go through the actual website. We went through more of just a concept of thought. And I kind of want to bridge the gap between yesterday's video and today's video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Z-Rank and what Z-Rank actually is. And Z-Rank is nothing more than, you can say it's Zazzle's process, this ushering in, if you will, to get you to be able to sell on their platform. But they, and the more that I understand print-on-demand platforms, the business model behind them, the more I understand why this exists. If you're familiar, and this is actually important for people to learn, any kind of print-on-demand platform has fees, okay? And it's not fees for you or for me as uploaders. It's really more of fees for the platform. They have to pay a high load of server costs. And these server costs can get expensive with time simply because, guys, tons of people are uploading to these sites. And every single time a new viewer, searches for that website is live and it has something called a bandwidth. And the bandwidth is basically, you can say, a measurement of the amount of gigabytes of data that is sent to people. And that's what internet effectively is. But that costs money. And having images and having data on these websites and servers is expensive. So Zazzle, in an effort to lower their costs over the years, they implemented something called Z-Rank. If you're familiar, when Zazzle very first started, there was no such thing as Z-Rank. In fact, Zazzle, in its infancy, when it first ever existed, there was no concept of customization. As you know, if I go to Zazzle today, we can customize these websites, right? We can customize these products. At the time, Zazzle didn't have that. It didn't exist. And that's not how Zazzle started. But regardless, it doesn't really matter. The whole point here is there's this concept called Z-Rank. And truthfully, it's the way that Zazzle can save their money because what they're aware of is they're aware of a lot of people who want to upload through print on demand and make some money, right? They get a lot of attention, but a lot of people are not committed. So effectively, they're just uploading low quality type products. They're not really passing this threshold of efficiency and success, and therefore it kind of hurts Zazzle. And that's exactly where kind of Redbubble was during COVID-19, even though they were making a lot of sales at the time because the stimulus packages were sent and a lot of people were at home at the time. After COVID-19, kind of the cards showed their faces, if that makes sense, which means a lot of people existed on the platforms, a lot of data was being sent, a lot of money was being spent, but not a lot of sales. So Z-Rank is kind of the way around that. Now, what is Z-Rank? Now, on this account, if this account looks familiar to you, it's not a coincidence. This was the account that I had created on my old YouTube channel to kind of show the world how Zazzle is, how to set up Zazzle designs, really. And this was the very first product I created, the second product, right? And I actually passed Zazzle in front of people how to do it, but it's pretty basic. There's nothing really special about Z-Rank. Or when I say I passed Zazzle, I meant I passed Z-Rank. And it's just a set of requirements, right? If you go to your store right now, you have these set of requirements for Z-Rank. And these requirements, they're just things like, create X amount of products, create X amount of social media posts, things like that with your products. It's just a way to show that you're kind of committed to the game, I guess you could say. Once you get your Z-Rank out of the way, you actually have the ability to rank. Now, what do I mean when I say get it out of the way? Z-Rank is, you need a Z-Rank of 4 or higher to be able to rank on the Zazzle algorithm. So if somebody was to search here for Zazzle and was to search wedding, let's just do that, and we search for wedding, all of this kind of stuff right here is, all of these creators, have passed a Z-Rank of 4. Now, 4 is the bare minimum for you to exist in the search. The more social media posts you do, the more designs you create, the more, basically the higher quality work you do, the higher your Zazzle Z-Rank is, and the more sales you get. And the reason why that is because the more your art will be seen in the algorithm. That's the whole point. The higher your Z-Rank is, the more eyeballs you get. Or essentially, the easier it is to get eyeballs. Let me correct myself. The easier it is. Now, why does that matter? Well, of course, if you are creating artwork, you want to rank higher, right? You want to get seen by more people. You want more attention for your products. That's the whole concept, right? Perfectly makes sense. Nothing too crazy about that. Where things take a turn is people pass Z-Rank and then they just stop because they kind of burn out. Well, that's where you kind of have to focus in. So how can we bridge today's lesson about Z-Rank with everything we learned in the past video about, creating these one-off products and what they are and why it's probably not a good idea, and just deeper research? Well, in tomorrow's video, if you happen to be watching this, we're going to talk about how to actually bridge that gap and why that actually matters. But without a Z-Rank of 4 or better, you're not going to rank on Zazzle. You're not going to be seen on Zazzle. You're not going to get any sales on Zazzle. So it's important that you take that into consideration.